In the cinematic sea of prequels, sequels, reboots, and reimaginings, the Movie Retakes podcast considers the merits and desires for Hollywood's new takes on our beloved movie classics. Brothers Matt and Chris Sully examine the latest retake franchises, pitch their own original retake visions, and share their love for the movies that made them. This is Big Sully.
And this is Bigger Sully. How could this be, you ask? Because this episode is Movie Retakes What If? What if I were bigger? I'm not.
I wondered where you were going with that. I was like, no, you haven't been working out that hard.
I have not. You got me. But this is the What If episode, and a different kind of What If. It's the What If recast. What if Anthony Michael Hall were the Demolition Man? Or what if Sandy Bullock was Gale Weathers from Scream? What if Bill and Ted were actually Corey Feldman and Corey Haim? That'll blow your mind.
Oh.
Could have been a Corey's movie. So we're retaking the retakes on this special What If episode. But instead of continuing a franchise like we did with Spaceballs and The Goonies, we're recasting characters from franchises we've covered in past episodes. Each brother chooses a few franchises, recast one or more of the characters with alternative actors, past or present. We have not figured out which movies we're covering. We each picked randomly, and we've not talked about which actors we're going to do either. So this could be a surprise for both of us. But before we get to that, be sure to, wherever you're listening to this, subscribe right now. Go over to YouTube and subscribe to us there. And find us on Twitch, twitch.tv/movie retakes, and everywhere else. All that fun time. Good time stuff.
Make sure you subscribe there on Apple Podcasts and leave a review, because that is still the area that is measured to see how well a podcast does these days. Our most recent review is from Young Patricia, a.k.a. Funko Photo Lady, who often visits my streams and our movie trivia on Wednesday nights on Twitch. And the title of this review is Best Podcast for Positivity. Her review is, Matt and Sully are two very funny, charismatic guys. Movie Retakes is a fun way to talk about past and present movies that have been redone. Great entertainment! !
Well, thank you so much. I know her.
Yeah, thank you guys. For anybody who takes the time to leave those reviews, that means a lot. And Funko Photo Lady, I will set aside an envelope for you right now with a Movie Retake sticker. I'll reach out and figure out which one of our 4 stickers that you want that features one of our covers. And for anybody that might want one of those stickers, leave a review or visit Twitch on Wednesday nights, almost every Wednesday night, where we play movie trivia, and you have a chance to compete against other folks for the victory and a sticker.
Yeah, that is fun. We won't have one this coming Wednesday, but it's pretty much every other Wednesday. So when this is posted, let's see, that'll be the August 4th. That we won't have one. But following that, show up over at Movie Retakes on Twitch. And yeah, it is tons of fun playing along with everybody. It's free to play. And like Brother said, you can win some pretty awesome stickers. They're pretty cool.
You know, the irony of that is it's going to be on me. I'm leaving town. I'm going to Hollywood, and that's the reason we're not going to have a Movie Retakes live. It should be the opposite way, but that's the way it works.
That's what happens when you finally make it. You abandon all the little people. See ya, suckers.
And then back the next week because he didn't make it.
Yeah. All right. So, before we get into the meat of the episode, we could still do this. What you watching?
This was harder this week. I know I've watched a lot of stuff, but apparently none of it was very good. I do watch a lot of Garbaggio while I'm playing my iPhone games and just killing some time. But a new season of Rick and Morty is underway. Love the show. I get up every Monday morning and catch the episode from Sunday night because I'm busy most Sunday nights. I did, over this past weekend, catch up. There was a new season of The Movies That Made Us. I think I talked a little bit about this on our live on Wednesday night. But for anybody who's interested in this series, it's really, really well done in the fact they provide a lot of entertainment value and behind the scenes on some of the movies that you probably grew up on or know to be some of the most famous movies of all time. This season was Pretty Woman, Forrest Gump, Jurassic Park, and Back to the Future. And I loved all of them. I do have a couple that stood out as my favorites, but you guys watch and be the judge. That is on Netflix here, I assume everywhere because it's a Netflix original. And that's season 2. So you could also go back and catch season 1. Lots of great facts in there.
Season 1 was good. What they do? Ghostbusters and
Yep.
Home Alone.
Don't ask me.
No,
Yes, Home Alone was my favorite
Home
so
Alone
far
was good.
of all of them. Just because it was so wacky, not to give too much away, but they filmed most of it in a pool in a gymnasium. Like that's crazy. It's so odd. They rebuilt a house in a pool in a gymnasium, but whatever.
That's crazy.
Go check it out. It's fun.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Podcasts I listen to on the recommendation of our friend Jungle Bry, who does Movie Jungle podcasts. Armchair Expert with Dak Shepard, who you might know from like Chips.
Yeah, I like
and
Dak.
He's been in a bunch of movies and television shows. Very funny guy. His wife is a looker, Kristen Bell.
Oh, she's
He
hilarious.
had Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher on a couple weeks ago to talk about NFTs, cryptocurrency, and Bitcoin specifically. As I continue with this, Ashton Kutcher makes me sick because he is a really good-looking dude. He's super funny. He is very talented and a hell of an entrepreneur. And to hear that he got in early on Bitcoin and could easily finance an entire film on his own with his profits from Bitcoin alone, man, I love to hate that guy. He's so good. But very informative for anybody that's getting into the NFT space and wants to know more about it. There's a lot of naysayers and haters out there, and they present it in a really good way so you can learn something while being entertained. One of my favorite ways. And then games. As usual, I stream 5 days a week over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/CSSULLY. And I've continued to play Fall Guys. I got a new season now, all jungle themed, which is a lot of fun. They've introduced a few small tweaks into the game. Still no cross-platform play, as you found out recently. You're on PC, I'm on PlayStation, so we can't play together unless it's in the custom match modes. But it's coming. It's going to be on Xbox and Switch later this year, and I anticipate crossplay as well. Just a great game. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Watch a streamer, even if it isn't me, and you're going to get the bug real quick to try it. Warzone, Call of Duty, been playing that regularly, and I talked about this last time, but I'm hooked on Fortnite again, and I'm just a few levels away from getting the Rick Sanchez skin, which brings my What You Watch in full circle. Rick Sanchez skin in the game, and then if I play long enough and get to level 130, I'll get the Toxic Rick skin, which is really trippy that they're able to bring this two-dimensional cartoon character into a 3D game, and it really works pretty seamlessly. They've added some anime characters recently, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that kind of stuff. And Fortnite, I don't care why you hate it, because a lot of people just do. They're just like, oh, Fortnite. It's a fun game. I don't understand why people have so much hate for it. If you've played it before, it's changed for the better now, I think. You should try it again.
Wow, it's just one of those things. Once you reach a certain status where you are known so widely, people just by default start to hate it. And that's how you know you've made it. When you have a select group of people that loathe your existence, you've done it, sir.
Yeah.
So I look forward to being hated by more people.
I wish I had that look on things.
For me, I've been watching Rick and Morty too. I'm still behind, I think, but every time I sit down, I'll watch like 3 episodes, and so I'm catching up. I think I'm in season 4, and they're on season 5 now. So yeah, I really enjoy it too. That show, it's quirky and weird and gross and existential, like philosophical. Like there's times where after an episode's over, I'm like, man, that is some deep stuff that we're dealing with, and they just leave you with it. They're like, hey, bye.
Yep.
Have a great time melting your own mind.
Go cry in the shower.
So yeah, but it's good. It's a great comedy, but it's there's a lot of good stuff in there. All the characters are really good too. I like that when each character holds their own, you know.
Yeah, and the creators and voice cast just wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Very talented.
Yeah. We've been rewatching Schitt's Creek again because we love that show.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just as good this time around. Watched Say Anything recently, which I like that movie a lot. I think it's really, really good. Talk about great characters. Like you don't often get a lot of characters that they've got, and then the relationships between them. It was just a really good movie. It's probably Probably gonna be my favorite Cameron Crowe movie, I think. I don't know. He's got a lot of good ones, but that one's pretty solid. Mulholland Drive, which I haven't watched in forever, and I remember it being really strange. It's still really strange. I mean, it's David Lynch, but it's still entertaining. It's weird as hell, but that's his whole shtick. But it was still really pretty entertaining. I watched. There is a show that I was watching. I'll still be watching. I think they've continued for a third season, but there's 2 seasons available on Netflix called Kingdom, and it's like feudal Japan zombie show. So it kind of appeals to a lot of my interests, and they have they call it a special episode, but it's basically a movie called Kingdom Ashen of the North. I watched that. It was okay. Like, I don't know if anybody out there watching the show or whatever is looking for a bit more from them. It's still worth a view, but the show itself has been, I think, far better than the movie. Same sort of thing here. I watched Cowboy Bebop, the movie. I'm a big fan of the original series, Cowboy Bebop. And I think I've seen this before, but I couldn't remember. So I was like, I'll watch it again, whatever. That was pretty entertaining too. But same thing there. I think the series is way better. We watched Quiet Place Part 2. So that was really entertaining. I don't demand too much and you'll be fine. Like it's not going to be one of those that's you're not going to be blown away, but it's going to be
just sit back and let the movie come to you.
And they're supposed to do a third one, which the details on it are saying like it's related in some way, but Krasinski I think is less involved. So it's going to be kind of maybe a spin-off. Same world. But whatever. I'm open to that. It's fine if we just get new characters doing stuff. Watched No Sudden Move, the Soderbergh movie with Don Cheadle and Benicio del Toro.
Oh, I did watch that too.
Yeah, and I feel like we talked about it, but I can't remember if that was on the live or what. I looked at my list previously, and it doesn't seem like we had done it on a previous podcast episode. I liked it. It was just one of those that, I don't know, I just don't know if I need that kind of movie anymore. It was a bit overcomplicated for no reason. Like, everybody just double-crossing everybody. And the acting was pretty decent, but, yeah, I don't know. It was okay. Gunpowder Milkshake.
The one-time watch.
Yeah. Gunpowder Milkshake, I think we both watched that as well.
That
was fun. That's exactly what it promoted itself to be, and that's all I wanted from it. It was good. Team America World Police, which is always a joy. Man, every time the movie is hilarious. And then when we were with Richard Donner recently passing away, I watched Superman 1 and 2. Really enjoyed the first one. The second one, man, it's not so good. And then reading the reviews on like the third and fourth one, they're also not so good. So we just kind of stopped there. We didn't keep going. And then podcast, I finished up I think it's the end of the first season of that Ronstadt podcast I've mentioned before, so I won't talk anymore on that. Really, really good. I'm really looking forward to more seasons and checking out more from Q Code. And yeah, I think that's it. Game-wise, I'm still playing my Animation Throwdown car game, but that's pretty much it. I haven't been too much Minecraft or anything else.
Just listening to your list reminded me of one thing I am watching for Schitt's Creek fans. One of the lead actresses is over on the new show Kevin Can Go F Himself.
Oh, okay.
And it's on AMC. And talk about it's a unique take on sitcoms. Some of the show is in very bright light sitcom style, like Everybody Loves Raymond or Friends or Seinfeld. And then other takes where she's not around, but she's more by herself or she's doing something kind of dark. It's filmed completely differently. And the same room looks completely different. The lights are all really low. The colors are darker and grittier. And I don't know if I can't even tell if they're on the exact same set and they just changed the lighting or if she's actually moved somewhere else. It almost feels like it's somewhere else. But it's based on the title. Yeah. You understand she doesn't like Kevin. Yeah. So you get to find out who Kevin is and why she didn't like him and what she's going to do. And it's very jarring, but at the same time, it really sets an emotional tone for those back and forths. And I really, really like it. And I really like her. I forgot the actress's name. It's like Annie Murphy or something like that. She's really good in it.
Is it comedy, drama, both?
I think it's chalked up as a comedy, advertised as a comedy, but it has very dark moments to it.
Yeah, that's probably how they have to promote it, considering she came from a comedy.
I like it. It breaks the mold. It really breaks the mold while somehow kind of almost making fun of or satiring your traditional sitcoms.
Yeah, that sounds great. And that's on Apple TV?
It's on AMC, I believe.
Gosh, there's so much.
Yeah, I get lost in all this stuff because I'll just say, hey, YouTube TV, record the show I'm interested in, and I don't even know where it's coming from half the time. The only reason I'll know is I'll look down in the corner and they'll have that little, semi-transparent logo. Every once in a while I'll notice that, or what they advertise. If I get a ton of ads for Walking Dead, I know it's AMC, that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, AMC was actually around before a lot of the streaming ones. Like, that was one of the newer stations that came about, I think, when... Well, I remember, when did... what was the first thing? Was Breaking Bad on AMC?
Breaking Bad was probably their first original program.
I think so.
Yeah, but they had been around for a while because I think AMC means America, or stands for American Movie Classics.
Yeah, they were doing movies.
I think when they originally came along, they were just showing movies.
Yeah. Cool.
And then everybody got into the original content game, and everything's changed since then.
It sure has, but I think it's been for the better. Like, it's...
Oh, agreed. We got more content than ever, and it's quality content. Like, I can't get over the amount of... Well, Ted Lasso. I can't believe I didn't have that on my list. Ted Lasso Season 2 is back, and I can't get over the quality of all the Apple TV Plus shows. They're all phenomenal. Everything I've watched on there, I love.
It's great. Yeah, it's really nice that things can get funded that maybe wouldn't have before, and people can just basically make whatever they want now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to make whatever we want with this recast episode. So, Segue King.
Transition.
Nailed it. All right, so let's take a look. How about you go first? Tell me what is the movie, or movies, if you want to do the entire franchise, that you chose to recast.
Yeah, So we talked about this a little bit. We gave this a loose outline for how we wanted to approach that, about our take on this, and I like that. So brother and I may have approached this very differently, but one of the things he put out was, hey, I'm going to recast it for the movies I pick for that time, and then also if I recast it for now, which I really liked. And then I tried to choose movies. There's one I had to do, and I think you all figured this out real quick when I started into it, because it desperately needed recasting at the time and now. But then the other two, I'm like, let me pick some that are a little more fun, and maybe I wouldn't necessarily have recast them, but just for fun, I'm going to do it.
That's a good idea.
So the first one I picked, because it needed it, was Highlander. My God. This is an ongoing joke on my stream about Christopher Lambert being just a horrible actor. And I'm sorry, Christopher Lambert, if you listen to this, but I'm not a fan. I'm just not. And I'm not normally finicky, but I'm not. So what I did is I picked Highlander first. And I wrote out a little something. If I recast this in 1986, the goal here for me was to make a better movie, but still capitalize on the popularity and the box office draw of one Sean Connery, because Sean Connery. So that's the only... I left him in this one as Ramirez, even though it doesn't necessarily make sense. He's great. He's great in everything.
Yep.
So I left Ramirez in place with Sean Connery. I recast Connor McLeod, originally played by that guy I just mentioned. Going back to the time, he would have been a... Yeah, don't even give him a name anymore. It's like shopping at Small Fart. I won't name them by name either. And I went back to... He would have been young in the time, but it would have been age-appropriate. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, okay.
As Connor McLeod. I think he's great in everything he's in. He puts himself in these roles. He's a chameleon. Unlike most actors, you can really get lost in his performances. And I think he would have been great in this. And I think he could have done an appropriate accent. I think it would have been fantastic. So I would have liked to have seen that. And then going over, I didn't recast the females in the movie because honestly their part in it is not that huge. But the other big actor, was Clancy Brown as Kurgan in the original film. And again, I went to that time period and I thought, who can we get that's even bigger in stature, even more muscular? There were a lot of choices, but I'm going Dolph Lundgren.
Okay.
Because you didn't need to necessarily... You didn't have to be a linguist to play that part. It was pretty basic. You just needed to be big and menacing, and I'd love to see Dolph Lundgren in another villain role in that time. I think he would have been really good in that. So it would have been interesting to see. I'm trying to picture Daniel Day-Lewis, Sean Connery, Dolph Lundgren, all in this Highlander film that kicked off far too many sequels and TV shows. Sorry, Corey. And then on the other side of that, I did a recast if it were filmed now.
Mm-hmm.
This one's kind of cheating because we did do our entire podcast on Highlander, that one episode, and I already cast Connor McLeod, and I think he's perfect. I can't uncast him, so I would still go with my choice from before, and that's Sam Hugan from Outlander. He looks the part. He's got amazing hair. He's an amazing actor. The women all love him. I mean, you could probably sell more tickets to women on this film than you would men, even though it's like an action film. That's normally the demographic would be men. But I am going to have to recast Ramirez. Unfortunately, we don't have Sean Connery anymore. I wanted to pick somebody that's a little bit more on the nose for a name like Ramirez, and so I went with Oscar Isaac, which also a dreamboat. Just on the dreamboat status, we're going to fill the seats.
Yeah.
And then for Kurgan, we need another big, larger-than-life figure. And he's done it before in the MCU, and he can do it again. I'm going Lee Pace. Lee Pace is fantastic. He was on Pushing Up Daisies. He was on Halt and Catch Fire. He played, I can't remember the character's name right now. I can't believe I'm blanking. We saw him in Guardians of the Galaxy, and then again in Captain Marvel. In Endgame.
I gotta look him up.
Why am I forgetting his name?
Quite picture.
Ronan, is his name in the MCU. I just figured it out.
That's him?
Yeah. He's a good-looking guy regularly, but you put that makeup on him and stuff, and he looks like this big, vicious dude. He could pack on a few pounds of muscle, and I think he could play the Kurgan role really well.
I did not realize that. Oh, he was also in the Hobbit movies.
Was
he?
He was he an elf? He probably was an elf.
Everybody was. Thranduil.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Lee Pace a lot. Very talented actor. If you haven't watched *Halt and Catch Fire*,
I only knew him from Pushing Daisies, and I only watched a couple episodes of that, and I really liked it. I just didn't end up watching the whole show. But I guess the other projects he's done, like that, I just didn't recognize him. That's interesting. Cool, good choices. Yeah, and I definitely wouldn't recognize him from Guardians of the Galaxy, which.
And side note, before you do yours, this might be more difficult than just doing our normal podcast. I struggled over these castings. Like, I kept going to lists of hottest 80s actors, action stars, young and upcoming stars, and like those lists are for poop. So I just had to go, okay, what were the movies that were big that year? And then started looking through the casts, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's how I approached it too. And I didn't do... So I also did Highlander. I think we kind of both expected that we were going to at least do... Chris Lambert was going to be taken out of the picture, literally. But the... that's the approach I took, too. But I didn't do a full recast of, like, everybody. Like you, Sean Connery... Yeah. How do you say no to Sean Connery? Like, yes...
Yeah. Okay,
maybe he didn't match the character perfectly, but he's Sean Connery. We talked about that on that episode. For this What If episode, we look back on conversations we had about the franchises we're talking about now. This clip here is from the Highlander episode, discussing the inadequacies of Chris Lambert's acting.
And I think the first mistake they made was their lead actor. Because the more I research about it, like he barely spoke any English. He didn't seem like a strong actor. He wasn't overly like ripped or I personally don't think he was like, as good looking as some other lead men at the time. Like, I don't know who he knew or was related to, but I personally think he was the reason this whole franchise was in the pooper for a long time. They brought in Sean Connery. Great addition, and I actually watched some guy's review online, and he's like, well, Sean Connery and Christopher Lambert really did, they acted off each other real well. No, Sean Connery acted real well. Everybody else did a decent job around him and didn't bring him down. Yeah. Sean Connery's the man. Like,
we were so distracted by actual acting that we just ignored everybody else around him. Yeah, good point. He's just so great. He's just so great. And he made up for wherever Chris Lambert was lacking. Sean Connery actually filled that void. So he did a great job. And I like everybody in the movie. I liked Clancy Brown, too. I thought he did good in that role. I like him. And so I think he made a really good villain. So I honestly wouldn't change anybody but Chris Lambert. So in 86, And I like your choice with Daniel Day-Lewis too. But in '86, there is a guy who was in his prime. He had done Aliens that same year, Terminator 2 years before. I'm talking about Michael Biehn, man. Michael Biehn was huge. Like, he was a big name. Like, you knew this guy was going places. And he's still around, but, you know, he didn't quite reach the status where I thought he should have, especially in the action world. Like, I feel like he should have been an action star, and I think having him come in for Highlander would have been a little different. Maybe he didn't have the swordplay skills or whatever, but I'm sure he would have learned it, especially with Sean Connery as his teacher. Sean Connery just knew all that. He didn't need to be told. He's like,
he was born with it.
Swords. Yes, swords. So yeah, Michael Biehn is my choice for the time period. So yeah, I like this where it's a true what if, I think, where, you know, this could have happened. This casting could have actually happened. Let's see. So that is for the time period. Then, and I wanted to look at too our choices. So when I did a casting for our pitches at the time, I chose Gerard Butler because I think I was going to do continuation now. Corey chose, I think he was doing the same thing. He chose Ewan McGregor for his Connor. So nobody chose Chris Lambert, and nobody ever would again. But for a slightly more modern choice, I didn't go full like now. Not that he's not still around, but I chose a little different route. Hear me out. It's a different thing from Michael Biehn. Michael Bihn's a little bit harder, and a bit tougher, honestly. But Orlando Bloom, I think, from 2005. He had done Kingdom of Heaven, Elizabethtown. Before that, he'd done Lord of the Rings, started the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. The dude had a big pull. Sure. And obviously, with the Pirates and Lord of the Rings, he's done the action stuff. Well, all of that except for Elizabethtown was action. And I think he could have played that part of Connor McLeod really nicely, like sort of that lithe approach with the sword play and stuff. I think it would have been pretty good for him. But again, that would have been moving the whole picture forward in time to 2005. Casting would have had to change for everybody else. But that's the whole what if thing. Basically, is if you could transport the entire movie of Highlander over, but Orlando Bloom was just where he was at that time. So I think that would be pretty good. All right. Highlander was kind of a gimme. I think everybody knew that was coming.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the other two is going to be interesting to see what we chose.
All right, what do you have next?
All right, next, I went for this one. My goal was I wouldn't want to recast this movie because I liked it with the original stars. But just for fun, I picked one of my favorite movies, and the thing that started this podcast, the movie we chose first was Demolition Man. It may have been our third or fourth episode that we released, but we had actually recorded it first as kind of a test pilot. And I love it, and I rewatch it every couple years. And I thought, hey, in 1986, what would it have been like if this movie had been recast? So here we go. For John Spartan, I love this. They were the two biggest action stars of the 80s and 90s, and he's even mentioned in the film. Let's flip it from Sylvester Stallone to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
This clip is from the Demolition Man episode, where we talk about Schwarzenegger, Stallone, and a John Spartan statue.
And then I have a question for you. This trophy, or the statue that they'd put up for John Spartan, would that be at the top of steps of an iconic building somewhere with his arms raised in the air, maybe?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I kept trying to think of what would be the appropriate thing for like a demolition. I would think he'd have actual guns that are fired off every hour or something into the air, but I don't know. Some random thing explodes around him. Yeah, you have to keep your distance from that statue. You don't want to run up next.
How funny if they did that and they somehow worked those same steps from Rocky in, and then they constructed that statue and then later moved it down to the left side so you could go visit Rocky and John Spartan and get your photo in front of both in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't think we can have too many Stallone statues. I think
when is Schwarzenegger going to get his for Dutch? Very similar. Just hold a giant machine gun with a cigar sticking out of his mouth. That'd be awesome. You gotta still have this big action hero, but now we've got a guy that's even bigger.
Yeah.
And in his prime in 1986 would have been, or 1993 when they did it, would have been amazing. For Simon Phoenix, an upcoming actor at the time who would be featured in Independence Day shortly thereafter. How about Will Smith as Simon Phoenix? He might have been a little young at the time, but I think it could have worked. This is 1993. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air had been on, so he could play the role. And then for Lenina Huxley, we need to go with the young, good-looking, impressionable actress. I haven't brought up her name as being casted in one of our films before, but she's one of my all-time favorites. How about Jennifer Love Hewitt, who shortly after this did, I Know What You Did Last Summer and some other stuff. Right. I think she would have been just the right age. So imagine Schwarzenegger versus Will Smith in these throwdown parts. Will Smith, the comedic and action star he is, could totally pull it off. And then a young Jennifer Love Hewitt to be formed into, it could have been an ongoing joke on our podcast instead of Sandy Bullock. Could have been JLH all these times. Yeah. So that's if we recast it back in 1993. If we recast it now, if this movie were made here in 2021, here's what I'd like to see. Here's my dream cast. How about for John Spartan, the biggest action star on the planet right now, The Rock?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we still go with the big, larger-than-life, muscular. He's got the comedy. He can do it all. Let's go with The Rock. And then opposing to him, I'm going to mix it up just a little bit. We're going Carl Urban, who I have said needs to be in more stuff. The guy's amazing. He's hysterical. He'd play Simon Phoenix. And then for Lenina Huxley, another MCU character who can play sweet and innocent and fake it really well, Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
I'd like to see her as Lenina Huxley. So I'd love to see that.
Cool. Yeah.
That's my recast.
That's some good choices. I think Will Smith would have worked in there. In 95, he did Bad Boys, so he was already time period. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So he could have done that first.
Yeah. Hell, he could do it now. I could have cast him in both times because he still looks great. He's still an action star. Here, 22 years later, or whatever it is, 20 years later, he could still nail it.
True, I didn't look up Jennifer to see what she was doing at the time. But I could see that.
I don't remember what year I Know What You Did Last Summer came out, but I feel like it was in the late 90s.
Let's see what old Love has to say here.
She might have been still on Party of Five in 1993. I'm not sure.
I think she might have been too young. Let's see. Yeah, because that was the first movie. I forgot about that movie. Trojan War. Do you remember that? That was
which one?
Trojan War.
Trojan War. Yeah. No, not familiar with
that.
I
think it was about a guy in high school that was basically trying to get with Jennifer Love Hewitt, but he's trying to find a condom. Like the whole movie is him trying to go get a condom or something like that, and could never find one. That was in 96, and I Know What You Did in Last Summer was 97. So that would have been 4 years. Or I don't know, man. She might have been too young, but
she might have been too young.
But okay, but it's still a what if scenario. Like it didn't have to be right then. It could be, just take her a few years later. No, I think she would have filled that role just fine. Poor Sandy. We can't replace Sandy though.
Yeah, it's hard. It was hard to do that one, but I forced myself to recast the main roles because I just wanted to picture what this is like. And you know what would be funny is in the future, I think this is something that's very doable. Somebody can scan in all the roles, all the works of an actor or actress, and then we could go in and punch something like this up, and then just based on their performances, it could be recreated. I can see a world like that before we're gone even.
Oh, yeah.
It would be really interesting to see these things played out.
Yeah, we'll have... Yeah, I think we talked about that before, where it's like you choose the movie, and then you choose the cast, like from your streaming platform or whatever, and then it just plays it with those people in all those parts. I think that would be amazing.
It'd be a game. People be picking their dream cast, and then it would get a score based on how it played in front of audiences.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty fun.
I think that would be tons of fun to go choose your cast. All right. Good choices. I did not do Demolition Man. I like that you're taking this approach too. Like, see, for me, I was looking at stuff that legitimately I thought should have been somebody else in that role.
Right.
But that's way smarter for a challenging sort of aspect to actually choose things where you did like people. I could see that being very, very difficult to then take the face out of that. Okay. Well, so I didn't do Demolition Man. I don't know if maybe you did this one, but I did Gremlins.
That's my next one.
You did? Okay, well,
Yep.
fine. Okay, so Zach Galligan was Billy Peltzer, right? He did an adequate job. You know, he's likable enough, but not great. So I tried not to go too huge. I wanted to not make a full lateral move. Like a lateral move, I almost chose C. Thomas Howell from the time. Because I was like, he's about the same caliber, you know, of an actor.
I think he was busy doing a movie with blackface around that same time, if I remember right. Not cool, bro.
Not gonna. Whew, man, I think that was the last movie that was everybody was okay with. That, or maybe they weren't. We were probably just in a bubble where we're like, "Is this is cool, right?" And everybody's like, "No, you can't do this." Yeah. So, okay. So I didn't go with C. Thomas Howell. I chose Lance Guest, who you may not even recognize the name, The Last Starfighter.
Oh yeah, he would have been good.
He would have been great. So he did The Last Starfighter in '84 when Gremlins came out. He, other than that, like before, he had done Halloween 2 in '81. He did Jaws: The Revenge in '87, a little bit after that, and he did some other stuff, but then just kind of went away. Like that was his career, really. So I think it would have been really great to see him in some other stuff, and I think he would have been better than Zach Galligan. Sorry, Zach. Yeah, so that's my choice, Lance Guest for the time period. And then for a more modern choice, I'm going with Joe Keery, who is on Stranger Things. Kind of a floppy hair. Well, I guess they're all floppy hair. It's the 80s, right? What's his character name on there? He works at the ice cream place in this.
Oh, yeah. I like that guy. And he's really good at the sarcastic comedy.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
So,
he reminds me, and there's a lot of pictures of the two of them together, but with, Schwartz, Jason Schwartz, is that his name?
Schwartzman?
No. Ben Schwartz.
Oh, okay.
From Community. Yeah, they look alike.
Oh, okay. His character name's Steve Harrington. Steve. On Stranger Things. It would have been a little bit different take on the character. He probably could have downplayed it, but I think giving him maybe a little bit more of a comedic, snarky sort of thing might have been fun. So that's who I chose for more stuff there. And he's been in other stuff. He was in Molly's Game in 2017, and he's going to be in Free Guy, actually, coming out pretty soon. When does that come out?
Oh, okay. I really liked Molly's Game a lot, and I'm very excited about Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds. I think that's going to be a really fun, like, popcorn summer movie.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be one of those easy, fun films that everybody can go see, and don't ask too much, and you'll get some fun. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. All right. So who do you have for Gremlins then?
So it's so crazy that we both picked Gremlins of all the movies that we've done, because we've done 27 episodes of the podcast now, and only 2 of those have been What If, so we had 25 to pick from.
This clip is from the Gremlins episode. It's the conversation we've all had once or twice about the ridiculous Gremlins rules.
The rules we have debated since we were kids. They're the silliest group of rules ever, and it is impossible that little Gizmo would live more than 3 days without breaking these rules. There's no way he made it as long as he did.
Oh, yeah.
How does he not get wet?
I don't know.
Say what?
Does he smell real bad? Or is he like a cat? Does he lick himself clean? Because you would think his fur would be all matted and disgusting.
Yeah. Does he never sweat? Like, yeah, it's so weird.
Does he drink water?
Exactly. I thought that too.
Yeah.
And does he have an internal clock that he shuts off at midnight and never eats? Like, and when is it okay to eat again? Everything's after midnight. That's the ultimate slap in the face of the rule.
Yeah.
I love that in part 2 they actually have that meta moment where they're joking about the rules.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good. So for my goal again was just for fun. For Billy Peltzer, I went sky's the limit. And I thought, who was a big star at the time, kind of up and coming? How about Tom Cruise?
Okay.
As Billy Peltzer?
Yeah.
It'd be a very different.
That's a different
movie.
one.
Yeah, I probably would have liked, honestly, would have liked the original character, the original actor.
Zach.
But then again, having fun with it, she would have been age appropriate, I think, at the time. How about a young Sandy Bullock
All
as
right.
Kate?
You may.
We had to work her
Yeah.
in, right? That would have been a good love interest between Tom and Sandy Bullock. And then for Pete, their close friend played by Corey Feldman in the film, how about Sean Astin at the time?
Okay.
Can you imagine Sean Astin saddled up as the buddy to Tom Cruise in a movie? That would have been different. And then for now, I decided to make this whole movie very different, and I actually chose Stranger Things character for this actor. For Billy Peltzer, who we're going to rename Millie Peltzer. How about Millie Bobby Brown?
Millie Peltzer.
I think she'd be great in this as a role swap. I love her in everything she's in, honestly. She didn't get enough play in the Godzilla films, but she's great in Stranger Things, and I think she's got a range, and she can do comedy. She'd be really good. And then for Kate, who was the love interest, now maybe we change that to Kevin. How about we go with Jack Dylan Grazer, who is the young version of Shazam in the movie Shazam. He's the young kid that then becomes Zachary Levi's Shazam.
Yeah, I like that kid.
I think he's got the comedic timing and he could do it. But the role I struggled with the most out of all these was a new Pete, originally played by Corey Feldman. I looked into this for a long time and finally landed on Jacob Tremblay. A bunch of you won't know him by name, but he was in Dr. Sleep, and most recently, we just talked about it, The Predator. He plays the young kid in there that finds the mask.
Okay. Oh, he's really
By
young.
now, he's 5 years older. He's going to be a teen. I feel like he's a decent little actor. Could he do some comedy? We'll see. He's got a good look to him. I think that's what would draw in the right age audience here.
Yeah, some good stuff in there. I like that you switch not just the genders, but the age bracket too. You well, how old is she now? Actually, I guess they're both there.
Oh, Millie Bobby Brown is like 18 or 19
okay. Well,
now,
maybe not then. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Billy, I guess, I assumed to be in his early 20s at the time. Not Zach, but
yeah, because he was out of college, had a bank job. But I think I've seen her, like, she does a lot of like modeling and clothes and makeup and stuff, and she definitely can look much older than her age.
But even if she wasn't, like, even if it was a high school thing, I think that could still work. But that's part of Billy's character, is like, where is he in life and stuff. But I don't know. Okay, cool, good stuff there.
She's 17 now.
Okay, I was looking at Tom Cruise. In '83, he was in Risky Business and All the Right Moves.
Yep.
So
he could play high school.
Totally could have played that. I think yeah, and you're right. That would have been a different movie. I wonder if he could have been nerdy in that way. I don't know. He was a little nerdy though in Risky Business.
In Risky Business, in the first part
he
of
had
it,
to transform
before he broke out of his shell.
That's right.
He could have been Billy Peltzer.
Okay, that's a good one. I could never replace Phoebe Cates though. Like, that's just, even with Sandy Bullock, she's just.
I know. I had to go on equal pars at least.
Phoebe Cates is my heart. When Kevin Kline finally bites the bullet, I'm gonna make a move. All right. Yeah, that good choices there. Okay, well then, let's see if this matches up. I also chose to do Saw. This final clip is from our Saw episode, where we talk about Jigsaw's failed approach to improving humanity. All these clips come from previous episodes that you can find anywhere you're listening to this podcast. The concept of Jigsaw's plan actually achieving anything where people do feel appreciative and want to help him do this to more people, because
that's the sad thing. It never proved itself true.
No, it's all nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If it actually helped anyone in any way, which I don't see how that's possible, but whatever. But I never believed that. And the people that kept helping him and stuff, I'm like, this is dumb. Like, nobody's going to help you. Just kill the man and move on. He put you that's the first thing I'm going to do. As soon as I get out of my bear trap, I'm going to go find the guy who put me in that bear trap, and I'm going to kill him.
I'm going to hobble over with my missing leg.
That's right. I'm going to beat you with my severed foot.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. So I did do a little. So in the other ones, I only chose to replace like the main character. This, I'm trying a couple of things here. One, all right. To be honest, I didn't really care for Cary Elwes or Lee Winnell in their roles.
fair.
Both pretty weak performances. But when we read the trivia and stuff, and this thing was only filmed in like what was it, 7 days or something?
Yeah.
You get it. You're like, okay, this was very rushed production, so everybody kind of phoned it in. Still, I don't know that they would have done much better. And here's something. So Carrie Elwes played Lawrence Gordon. Fine, regular name. Lee Winnell, his character name is Adam Faulkner Stanheight. Why would you
Wait,
why would you choose that as a character name? Like, how does that have any? Who does it? Faulkner Stanheight? Even by the like, why? I don't.
That's very strange. Unless they knew somebody with that name, or they were going to play the name into part of the mysteries at some point, like be an acronym or something.
Then maybe it was some producers or something
Yeah.
like that. All right. Okay. So in 2004, there's Jake Gyllenhaal, who did Day After Tomorrow at the same year.
Oh yeah, I just watched that last night.
Oh, crazy.
Funny. It was on cable. I was watching while playing my game.
So I would cast him as Adam. So if you recall, he was like the photographer. That was
the other guy in the
that's
room
right.
with Carrie Elwes. Yeah.
And Jake had done October Sky in '99, and then in '01 he'd done Donnie Darko and Bubble Boy, both great movies. Bubble Boy's so funny. And then he went on to do, everybody knows Jake Gyllenhaal, so I won't go to that. Now here is as Lawrence Gordon, Carrie Elwes' role. I chose Daniel Craig. So Daniel Craig in 2004 had just done Layer Cake, and that was basically his introduction to this side of the world. He had already done stuff and had a career going in England, but then when we started getting introduced to him, and I think that would have been a really interesting role for him to come into. I think he would have done a better job, and it would have given him an easy in. Like, horror is just one of those genres that, any actor can kind of fill a space. Now, that's the whole point of this: is will they do a great job? Maybe, maybe not. But so Layer Cake in 2004. But he did. So my timing's off. So in 2001, he did Lara Croft Tomb Raider. So he was around a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, but we didn't get Casino Royale till '06, and Quantum of Solace in '08. Then he did Cowboys and Aliens, Girl with Dragon Tattoo, Skyfall, blah blah blah. So whirlwind after that. But I'd forgotten Tomb Raider was in there in '01.
Yeah, but honestly, I think of Tomb Raider, and all I think about is Angelina Jolie. I don't remember him being in that. I'd have to watch it again and go, oh, this is what he did before James Bond.
Yeah, I vaguely remember him. It was a supporting role for sure.
Sure.
I think he ended up being the villain. Spoiler. But or at least he was on the bad side. Anyway, but I think that would have been an interesting fit. Okay, here's the other approach. Instead of doing then and now, I'm still going with then, but what I'm doing is I'm switching the cast within the cast. So Danny Glover plays Detective Tapp, and Ken Leung plays Detective Singh. I want them to be in the room, and I want Carrie Elwes and Lee Winnell to be the detectives. I think I think it would fit so much better and play to their approaches. And yeah, honestly, I just think Danny Glover, even phoning it in, would do a much better job of getting those emotions across. It would have been a really cool role for him. And Ken Leung, we didn't have a ton of stuff from him on screen, but for me, I think he would have done better for Lee Winnell. If you remember, I didn't list a bunch for Ken Leung in case people don't realize who that was, but he was on Lost for a little bit. What was his character name? He was Miles. That's it, Miles Strom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was in there for a couple of years.
Dude, I love what you did there. I think that this is almost its own type of game. Instead of a full recast from outside the universe, how about like just role swap? Something like that. I love this idea. Within the same film, just changing who the actors played. That's fun.
And I think it would have worked. Wow, he's in more stuff than I realized. So he was in Spy Game in '01, Vanilla Sky in '01, Red Dragon in '02, Inside Man in '06. Let's see.
Busy guy.
X-Men The Last Stand in '06. Kid Omega. Oh, I can picture him now. Didn't he have like needles coming out of his face?
Was that him?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Huh.
Isn't that nuts when you go back? There's nothing I like more than like when I saw Day After Tomorrow on last night. I forgot that the lead love interest in that for Jake Gyllenhaal was the girl that went on to be the lead in Shameless.
Oh, okay.
I didn't put that together, and then I saw that last night. Or you'll go back and watch a movie from the '90s and go, "Oh crap! There's a young Ben Affleck in the background." Or I love stuff like that.
Right? Yeah, that's really cool. Like when they finally hit, and they're like,
Yeah.
that celebrity status, and then you realize they've been doing this for
Yeah.
decades.
I've seen them for years. I just never put it together.
All right, cool. So let's see. That's my Saw. So what do you have next?
Actually, I only did the 3 movies.
Okay, cool.
Did you did a bunch?
No, I did one more.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. So okay, we can do that one too. I think we've got a little bit of time. Let's see.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. So I also did, and I didn't do a full recasting here. So I just I was thinking about Dune because Dune's coming up, and I like. Now that I've experienced more of Timothée Chalamet's work, like I think he's going to do a good job, and so I think it's a good choice. So I'll keep going with that. So if we're staying in modern times, I would like to see, however, a bit of change up. So this is a very whitewashed film, and a change up for some diversification here with House Atreides. I'd like to see either John Boyega or Dev Patel as Paul Atreides.
Ooh.
I really like both of them. They're of a good age, I think, and could do like a good drama, but maybe a little bit of a twist on there. And I think they would have been better than Kyle MacLachlan. Kyle MacLachlan's okay. He fills a need, but I wouldn't reach out to him as an actor.
He was more the look than the actual part. Like he was pretty for the poster. He was good looking on screen, but when it came down to the nuts and bolts of it, I think I agree. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So for the time period, though, I went. This is a bit risky, and I think there is an image when I say this name of him now versus then. So try and just think of him as then. I'm going with Johnny Depp as Paul Atreides in '84.
That's a good one.
'84. Johnny had just done his first movie, A Nightmare on Elm Street. That's all he had done.
Dang.
So this would have been a huge, huge thing for him to take on. And
no, this is perfect.
I think it could have been good.
I'd love to see that because we know what he's capable of when he finally plays Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean. He can get out there.
Well, I like him in other stuff. So here's some of the stuff and I don't even remember him in Platoon, but he's in Platoon in '86.
What?
Yeah. Apparently, like I've seen the pictures and everything, but it just must have been a role that was a drive-by because I don't remember much. But there's some really good stuff from him. So Edward Scissorhands, he did in '90. What's Eating Gilbert Grape in '93. Donnie Brasco in '97. Chocolat in 2000. Blow in '01. You remember that movie? That movie was fantastic.
Yep.
I've watched that so many times. And now he's done the Pirates and the Tim Burton films. And so I sort of dismiss him. But he's recently, looking at his resume here on IMDb, he's getting into some more dramatic roles now, just stuff that I happen to not be watching. But I think he is a good actor. He just kind of, for me, got a little lost along the way. The Pirates movies are fun. I'm not going to totally be a jerk about that. I don't think I've watched the last 2 of them, but I get it. It was a fun role. But the Tim Burton movies, it's not my bag anymore. Like, I just don't get any of that stuff. It's just not anything I'm into. So I'm not going to watch him in any of those. Plus, it seems like it's the same movie. Like he does the same cast, and they all have the same sort of performance for everything they do. So it just seems like the same movie over and over again. I don't know. But anyway, for that time period in '84, I think it would have been a cool choice.
No, that's a great one. I would not have thought of that, and you're absolutely right. The time, the age seems good. He's got, man, regardless of if everybody knew who he was at the time, he's got a look, and he's a good actor. So, or was.
I think he still is.
We'll see if he still is.
I think he still is.
I just don't know. He's got some issues going on.
Well, that's
his personal life has got into his acting, I bet.
That's besides the point. Well, and as I look it up, he's now doing his most recent project that he's been doing for the longest time is some animated show in Italy where he does the voice.
What?
He does the voice of a puffin, one of those penguins, right?
Okay. Doesn't he live over? I think he lives over there now.
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever, man. As long as you're having fun. Okay.
I would love to do some voiceover work on a cartoon. If anybody's hiring, I'm here. You need a slightly southern gentleman? Yeah, I got you.
Is that
every once in a while my yeehaw shows up a little bit.
Is that your range? Is that what you can do the one
voice?
I
mean, I could do other things. I mean, I can imitate people who've imitated others in films. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Okay. If you're listening out there and you need a slight tweak on the southern gentleman.
I mean, if you come and steal one of our ideas for a retake, the least you could do is give us some writing credits and maybe throw me a bone on a voiceover gig. I mean, I'm here.
Right. Okay. Well, that's the whole thing there, baby. So we did 4 movies, I guess, and yeah, I think that was pretty good. You did more recasting than I did. But it was a ton of fun. It was hard, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And
I think we approached several here. If we did another one of these, I like the idea that I did a gender swap on Gremlins, and you did that role swap within Saw. I think we've got the basis for. I mean, hell, I think we created a game today, is what we did.
Yeah.
I kind of said it out loud earlier, but the more I think about it, this could be a thing in the future where you do plug and play. All right, I want this movie and I want these actors, and maybe you get an extra challenge of, okay, they have to be from the same movie.
Yeah.
Go, and then how does your movie scored would of course be the trickiest part of it. There will be AI one day that'll be able to tell us all this, but then they'll take over because of Skynet, and we won't get to play games, whatever, and it's a whole thing. So
I was thinking about this. So while I'm looking up people, okay, so it was difficult for us, but we had a couple of advantages. One, we've already seen the movie, right? So we've seen what the performance was like. We've seen what the other people's performances were like. So we get an idea of the film. It's a little bit easier for us to take it and make some small changes. Plus, we have the benefit of hindsight where we know the careers of these other actors and stuff like that. Now imagine yourself legitimately in the time the movie's not been made, and you are casting it right there. Like, I never would have picked Johnny Depp. He's a nobody. Like, if he'd already done, he probably was filming Nightmare on Elm Street at the time.
No, you're absolutely right. And another thing I realized while doing this is we draw off of our knowledge and recent experiences. Like, I would not have said Oscar Isaac a few days ago, but we recently talked about him when we were doing trivia on Wednesday, and so he was top of mind. And I imagine that if you're doing staffing in Hollywood, that's exactly how that works. What agents have you recently talked to? What movies have you recently watched, or series, or who'd you run into at a party? Those kind of things will develop and make your decisions for you before you have a chance to go look for somebody new like a Johnny Depp.
Right. And
yeah,
it's the relationships you build and who you know too, or at the same time, like I was looking up, I was going to do a behind the scenes thing about Marion Doherty, who you might recognize the name. She was a casting director for a bunch of movies, and a lot of her movies, she ends up casting, how have I forgotten his name? Mel Gibson. Sorry,
she did.
I kept had Mel in my head, but I'm like, all the other last names that were coming up to me were like Torme or Brooks. I'm like, those are not the people that I'm trying to get. Mel Gibson. Yeah. So like, I think like 8 of the movies that she was the casting director on, he ended up being the lead. So
sounds more like she's his agent.
Exactly, but. I could totally see that happening where it's like, well, we had a great experience over here and he did a great job.
Yeah.
Like that's the sales pitch. I know he'll do a good job with this material. And then you just keep going and it keeps happening.
Well, and it kind of on the same subject, I listened, or I was at a panel with Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk one time, and Nathan Fillion talked about, hey, look, I learned early on in my career that people don't like to work with a-holes. And there's a lot of a-holes in this industry. He said, so I decided from day one I was going to be the nice guy. on set to everyone, regardless, from the gaffer to the construction guy to the director. I'm going to treat everybody with respect, and my coworkers. And he kind of took on this leadership role in that way too. And word gets out. And then everybody, including staffing companies, are probably like, oh, well, everybody on set would love to have Nathan Fillion in this role. Let's get him over here. You know what? Some of these people could have probably taken a note from Nathan.
Yeah, especially, I mean, that kind of stuff carries to the whole set. Like, even if there's other people on there that aren't so cool, but you are known for bringing a bit of levity to it and having some fun, then you're a guy you want to bring on set, even if you're not in the movie.
What if you show up on set and you need security guards to keep you from beating up on your coworkers?
Oh, yeah.
A la Predator. He wasn't in many roles after
Billy. That. He's a madman. All right, don't beat me up, Billy. All right, this was fun. Yeah, this is a good one, and I could totally see us doing this again. All right. We are going to get this episode out, and before or after, whenever, every Wednesday, except for this next one, join us over on Twitch, twitch.tv/movie retakes. We're uploading these as videos on YouTube as well, but anywhere you get podcasts, you can find this one, hopefully. There's probably like 40 new things that have come out since I've said that statement, and we're not on those yet, but we will be. So thank you for joining us. I am Matt. As always, support a writer, read a book.
And this is Going to Hollywood for a Week, Sully, Big Sully, reminding you, as always, nerds unite.